Hello, and welcome back to a segment that I have not done in a long time. So, this is analyzing albums with animals. And technically, this is listed as an album, although there's only 6 songs, so I don't know if it actually counts as an EP. But, um, but yeah, let's just jump right in because there is so much to talk about. I could probably honestly spend an hour per song if I had the time. Love it. I've been listening to it nonstop. It's way overdue. I should have done this the week it came out. But yeah, so I'm really excited to talk about this album. So the title is How Will I Rest in Peace If I'm Buried by a Highway? And the artist is KennyHoopla. Again, I've been obsessed with just such a good EP. So good. So let's jump in. Thinking Out Loud is the first song. And it starts with about 30 seconds of instrumentals, and then you get this like voice that's under the instruments, and it seems like it's talking. Some of the words are harder to hear than others, but I do genuinely think that was intentional because they start very far in the background and then kind of come to the foreground little by little as the song progresses. And but I also do think that there's a lot of like pauses in where the speaking is. So obviously that was intentional too. But I really do think that this is a great intro to the album overall, just because so much of this album takes place in the background and it's just like beyond amazing. There's a part with just instrumentals before the lyrics come in, and you get a change in the previous instrumentals. So I really love the lyrics. There is like a lot of echoed words. So I really, again, a lot of this kind of takes place in the background. Don't get me wrong, the foreground of this album is fantastic, but the background of this album is like equally as fantastic, which does not happen in a lot of albums. So like, I just totally appreciate all the subtleties. And again, we'll go through all of them, but especially like this song just introduces the fact that like you need to be paying attention because there's so much to pay attention to. And so yeah. So it's also like just really interesting things in the foreground versus background, which is what I was saying. So after the first verse, which ends with, "Are you really afraid? Don't know my own strength," you get this brilliant, like, she's scared now. And it's just so great because the previous echoes in the song echo the lyrics pretty much like exactly. And so this change makes it subtle because you're like, oh, well, so the echoes before were exactly the lyrics. And then it's like, you really like almost need to be paying attention to get that it's not the same lyric. And I love that. Again, it's just like that little tiny like difference and twist just makes it so good. Then you get the lyric, "The most feasible way to love is to not at all." Love that line. It's like a heartbreaking, but awesome. So I really like that. And then you get this like string part, and I want to maybe string, I don't really know. It's after the line, "Doesn't it hurt?" And it's like such a quick part, and the part definitely, like, the music of that part is played previously, but when you add like the string sound to it, because it's not played like on like a violin sounding instrument, it's played more on like either like a synth or a guitar sounding, but when you get that string piece, I really love that. So I just love that little difference. Again, little subtle change, but it makes such a big difference, and I really love that. And then I love the last 2 lines of the next verse, which are, "We'll make love, but it won't be intimate. I'm so sorry, but my heart's not into this." And again, just like another heartbreaking line. The last 2 lines are, "Doesn't it hurt?" Both are in the background, and it starts like with this awesome slow breakdown of the instrumentals. And so again, I just like love how the complexity of this song just like slowly gets like shed away part by part as the song ends. And this song is definitely interesting because there's no real chorus. And again, it begins with a lot of instrumentals and that talking piece. But I think it's a great way to introduce the rest of the album, especially because this is such a good indication to like listen to background. And I think that's really important in this album. So the second song is How Will I Rest in Peace If I Am Buried by a Highway. This is the song that got me into KennyHoopla. It's the one that's being played on the radio right now. And I just like love it. This is definitely my getting ready, jumping around with my toothbrush in hand in the bathroom song. The music is like instantaneously fun. So I really, really love the intro. Love the music overall in the song, but the intro just catches you immediately. So really love that. I also really love the use of quotes and pronouns in this song. I think it was really well done. And I think it just adds such a good layer. So the chorus, they say, "You clean up nice, you look like a dead man." Then you get, she says, "You dress up nice," which I love that repetition of nice and nice because she's using the same word that they used. And then it ends with, "I feel like a dead man." So again, you get that repetition, but I think it works because of the pronouns and the way that the quotes are used. And so I love the end of the first verse. You get a little bit of like this backgroundish repetitions of of the last two lines. And then after another chorus, the music drops and you get this bridge / second verse. Because I say bridge because it's so different from the first verse. Like the music is just insanely different. And I just love how unique it sounds. And so the first line is the song title. And then 2 lines later, you get, "Weight of my shadow, it gets more heavy and it scares me." I love that concept. Just like putting weight to something that doesn't have a physical weight. And I understand that it could be like mental or emotional. So I also like that aspect of it. But then I also think it's interesting that you get like this association of things being like dark, like you think shadows are like dark and like scary. So I really, really like that line. I think it gives a really like interesting concept, and so again, just love it. Then for the next 2/3 of this part, so like again, this is why it's like bridge-ish. Each line is separated by yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, love the difference. It makes this part sound so unique. So I guess like technically it would be like the verse and then like you go into the bridge right away. And this is where quotes and then pronouns again come back in. And this is like, this is the part that sold me on this song the first time I heard it. So you say, "You know that it's fine." I say, "I know that it's fine." You say, "It's only a fire." I think it's more than a fire. So I love that he doesn't say that out loud. I love that it's a think and not say. It's so brilliant. It's just so good. It's so good. Oh, it's excellent. And then you get the chorus again. And like you get a great jump around for this song just because the music is so good. And it's great. I love this song and I hope everyone loves this song. It's so good. Okay, so then after that, the song is "Plastic Door." And at the beginning, you get these like ahs in the background of the intro, which I really love because this song is sang in such a great way. So eventually when the lyrics start, you get pauses added or words that are saying like a bit more quickly to make the lyrics fit the music. And I love when artists do that in general because I think it means that the words that they picked are very deliberate. And that it's more important to get the correct wording than it is to have the lyrics match how the music or where the music ends or that line in the music ends. So I really love that. I think it's really great. And again, just makes it so unique and makes you like want to listen to it because you're like, clearly these words are important because they're like dragged out or pauses in between certain words where they could not be. So I just really love that. And so the line I love is, "You really got guts, but I got way more guns." And so originally, before I started actually looking at the lyrics, I thought it was but I got way more guts. So you really got guts, but I got way more guts. And I really like the idea of that. Like, you have some, but I have even more. But I still like that line the way that it is. But I do think that having it be guts again would have been kind of cool. And then at the end, I love how he holds the word house. It's like really long and it completely changes it, and it's a repetition, so it changes the second repetition. It's great. It's just so good. And again, a great way to end that verse, because that's like totally an indication of the words being important in this, and matching the music in terms of pauses and lengthening of words. So it goes into the chorus, and I love the line, "Every dream I am searching for you." Really sweet but sad sentiment. Never finding them, always searching, that kind of. So I really love the cleverness of the other part. So it's funeral, sleeping well, peace is impossible. So I love that like they're sleeping well because they're dead, but that it's not peacefully. I think that's, again, like just really kind of heartbreaking. It's really like a sad sentiment. So that's repeated twice, and then it goes into the second verse, and so you get the same style for the first half as the first verse. So the first half of the second verse is the same style as the first verse for the first half. Oh my gosh, I'm repeating, sorry. But the music changes halfway through, and I love the change. I think it's really great. So the first two lines are, "Where's the blood from? And please tell the truth." I love the word please. It's so good. And just the visual of like seeing somebody with blood either on their shirt or on their hands or somewhere, and just being like, please tell the truth. Like it's just so good. I really love that. I think, again, the words were well chosen, and I just love that part. And then towards the end it says, "Thanks for letting me in. Wait, do you see those red lights?" So I love the idea of being like allowed in, but then also kind of like having a warning, like red, like stop, caution. So again, I like that kind of like makes you think, like, what does that mean? So I really like that ambiguous meaning. So then you get awesome repetition of the last line of the first verse, and then you go to the bridge. And so the bridge is just two lines. The first one is repeated twice and the last one only once. And you get some instrumentals with, again, more of those oohs and ahs in the background, which is then carried into the next chorus of the song, which I love. And again, this is like where that background comes in so instrumentally. So now you've had the chorus twice, but then this third repetition, you get this like oohs and ahs carried through in the background, and it's just it's so good. And then after that, you get "Searching for You," and "Funeral" is repeated in the background as the music continues and then eventually ends. So again, I really love, first of all, I just love "Searching for You" because that's one of the lines in the chorus that I love the most. And I think it's just, again, the background is so important in all of the songs, and that's just such a great way to end that song. So after that, song number 4 is "Dust," which is my favorite on the EP. I like loved it immediately when I heard it. I was like, yep, this is my jam. Like, not even a question. The music started, I was like, yep, this is it. So it has this like staticky feel at the beginning, and I am going to explain this terribly, but so the instrument that is played is like sad and like scratchy sounding. It's just so good though. It like has this like desperate feel to it, and I just love it. It's so good. And then you get this like simple guitar when the verse starts, which I love. And the first verse is like contradictions, and I love all of them. They're just, it's so good, and it's just, they're so like, it's just so good. I love the first verse. It's fantastic. And so like the first one is, "Have you ever got a hug but you felt no touch?" So I just really, again, like the, like a contradiction. Again, I said that word twice, but so I really like that. Is like one of my faves. And then I also love "Playing hide and seek, looking for yourself." So I love how complicated that concept is, and like just thinking about it is so just so like introspective. Like, I don't know, it really makes me think a lot, because so looking for yourself is like not a very complex concept. I mean, yes, like it can be complex in terms of how to go about that. But it's just like, okay, so like you're lost, you need to find yourself, you need to be off your phone for 24 hours or something like that, right? So the concept is common, But to be hiding yourself from yourself as you're trying to look for yourself, it's just like a whole new level. And I love that. I think it was a brilliant line. And I love the first verse. So technically the chorus begins, but the music really doesn't change, which I actually really like, because again, it's like you think, oh, this verse is very long, and then as the song continues, you're like, wait a minute, that was the chorus, which I heard like a while ago. So I really, again, really appreciate just the subtleties of this not changing the first time. So I really, really like that. So, okay, so there's one line in the chorus that I can't really understand. And it's listed as, so the line is, have you ever raised your hand in, and then I can't understand the last two words. And the last word is definitely lesson. At least once you hear the chorus the second time, it seems like it's lesson. And when it's written down, it says art. And so, like when I looked online, it said art lesson. If that's the case, I feel like after all these like contradictions, it's just kind of and it's maybe because I don't understand what that means to raise your hand in an art lesson. If you know, please let me know. I am like genuinely interested. And so maybe just because like you can't teach art, so if you're like raising your hand as a question, like if you're a true artist, it comes from inside. I don't really know. Let me know what you think, because I genuinely like am racking my brain here. But I love the line, well, I've seen the stars and they look like us. I just think that's such a beautiful line and like a really awesome thought. Also, I love the idea of I'm running into rocks and I'm turning into dust. So I like that, you know, you think of if you like pound two rocks together, you get like dust. And so the fact that I'm running into them and turning into dust, so it's like self-perpetuating. I don't know. So I thought that was a cool line. Again, you get repetitions in the background with instruments before you get the second verse. So I really like that. Again, all in the background. So then I love the lines, this is really all my fault. Guys, is this really all my fault though? So guys could be another word, and though sounds like it could maybe be another word. Again, if you know what the actual lyrics are and I got it wrong, please don't hesitate to comment. But so anyway, I love that the music drops and like there are so many great changes for the chorus, like musically, instrumentally, but also the repetitions in this part are so good. And it's so different from the first chorus. And it just makes the song amazing. Like I have never heard a song that treats a chorus like part of the verse and then has this like same exact lyrics, but just like a totally different feel and vibe. It's just so wonderful. I really, really, really love it. So then you get instruments with some sounds, and I love how unique it sounds. And again, it's all about things that are happening in the background. It's so good. And then you get turning into dust part of the chorus repeated. After you get this repetition, the second verse is repeated, but it has such a different feel. Like the voice is definitely maybe a little bit more filtered. And it definitely has like different nuances of like words that are saying differently and said differently. It's just, it's so good. It's just so great. And the music at this part is similar to the very beginning. And yeah, so then you get, so then the music you get similar to the beginning, and the voice, it sounds like an old person. They say a few words. And it can be hard to hear what they're saying, and then like it all like fades. But yeah, so great. I really love Dust. It's one of my favorites, and I wish, of course, it's not the song that's like blowing up, but I wish it would, because I love it. It's so good. All right, I gotta go. Quicker. Sorry it's taking so long. It's just such good music. So the fifth song on the album is Sore Loser. Great instrumental intro. Love how the music builds before the lyrics start. So you get this like couple second build and then the lyrics come in. So I really love that. My favorite lines in the first verse are, enjoy the tide if you can endure it. And so I really love like the deeper meaning behind that. Because, you know, tides can be fun, but they also can be very dangerous. And so, and really hard to like get through and stand through. So I really, really like that. But I also love the repetition of if you can endure that, because it happens right after that line happens, but then the next line is saying, and you get, again, 2 repetitions of if you can endure that in the background. So I love that it comes back, and I love the repetition. And again, it's all about the background. It's so good. It's just so subtle, and I love it. I really love it. So the music changes for the chorus, and the chorus is like always repeated twice. So I really love the lines, I'll live as an echo, learn how to let go, but it's no fun to live in last place. I like the imagery of living as an echo, and you know, that letting go of something puts you in last place. I think that's a really interesting concept. So I really like those lines in the chorus. The music drops for the next verse, and so I love the singing in this part. This is again like where he sings to match to say what he wants to say, as opposed to like going with the music, and I just love it. So one of the lines starts with it's much easier, and so the way that he holds the words is fantastic, because then the end of that, he actually has to sing the words like a little bit quickly and squish together. So I love it. It's just so good. It's such a subtle change, and it makes it so excellent. And then the other line that I love how it's saying is actually at the end of the verse, which goes right into the chorus. But so it's, but do you feel karma when you hit rock bottom? It's like yelled, and like it's just so great. Again, it's just a change that I love. But the line that I love from this verse is, I'll learn to rot away and not complain. And so again, I think that's a really interesting image in my head, but also an interesting concept of like learning not to complain when you're like basically disintegrating. So I really like that. But anyway, so then you get back to the chorus, and it repeats again that 2 times. So you get an instrumental with these like subtle sounds, and it starts in the background. So this line that I'm going to talk about starts in the background and then like comes to the foreground, and I love it. Again, this is so important, the backgrounds. It's Don't Stop Dreaming. And it's like almost a creepy voice, especially once it comes into the foreground. You're like, ooh, that's real creepy. But it's great. It's just so unique, and it's just such a great addition. Then you get Sore Loser. Okay, so this is like one of my favorite parts of this song in particular. It's, again, just so great. Like, just, there's no words for how awesome this part is. So you get Sore Loser. And then you get the lines, don't want to live as an echo, which again, the line is, I'll live as an echo. So the chorus is saying I'll live, but then this part is saying I don't want to live as an echo. And then you get Sore Loser in between, and then you get Don't Want to Let Go. And again, it says I'll learn how to let go, and it's like, but I don't want to. And then it's Sore Loser. So you get alternating, and that's repeated twice. And I love that. Again, I think it's so great. Ugh, it's just such a good part. There's a little bit more music, and then it drops, and you get the chorus with the guitar and like that staticky quality, which I love. Totally changes the chorus, makes it sound so different. And then, yeah, so it's a really great way to end. I really, really like that song a lot too. Okay, last song. We're almost there, guys. So the last song is The World is Flat and This is the End. The lyrics come in right away with simple music, and so that's the first time on this album that happens. And so my favorite line in the first verse is, bruising up my wings, didn't even get to fly. I love that image and like the significance between wings in terms of like angels, and so it's just it's so great. Really love that line. There's not much change when the chorus comes in. And again, this is not the first time that that's happened on the album, but the lines that I love from the chorus, at least the first one, is the world is flat and this is the edge. It can't get more obvious than this. So I really like that. I think it's an interesting concept, you know, what that means, like to be at the edge and like it can't get more obvious. So I like that. There's a huge change in music, which I love the effect because you get like this digital like stringish sound, and it's so good, especially because again, the chorus doesn't change much from the verse, and then you get this like extreme change. So I like that. So then the music drops for the second verse, at least for the first half of the second verse. So you get feel something standing over my bed. The energy is haunted and it's hollow and it's daunting. I love the imagery of that, especially when you have this imagery of wings before. I think that really like carries over and makes this image of someone standing over his bed like way more easily accessible, but also like intriguing and intense. And then right after this line, this like music comes in full and his voice is definitely more filtered. It's definitely different for the rest of the verse. So I really love the change, and especially for the last line. So at the end of this verse, the music like totally drops and the voice kind of doesn't sound like his actual voice, but it's just such a great way to end this verse. I love it so much. So yeah, so then you get the chorus and it's repeated twice. And so the first time it's repeated, there's one line that's different. And then the second time it's repeated, it's the same exact lyrics as the first chorus. So for the second chorus, the line that they change is the third line, and it's, I feel numb and I like it like that. And so I like that line. I think it's a great change. And again, I love any subtle changes. And so the fact that they changed it for the first repetition of the chorus and then they repeated the first one, I do appreciate that change. So the music shifts completely and goes into the bridge. So I love the line, feel like it's just me that's in this. I just love the concept of that. Like he's alone, which is sad, but I just like that line. And then you get the repetition of feel more crazy than offended, like a bunch of times. And so as that's going, so once that repetition ends, you get this huge music change. It drops like almost completely, in like a huge way. It's a very big shift. And you get a really filtered voice for the refrain. Again, doesn't even sound like the singer at all. But again, I love how unique this part is, and it like just makes this song like awesome because you've had all these different changes. And again, I really like the dramatic change from the bridge to the refrain. I think is really great. And then you kind of get this quick instrumental transition back to the chorus, and you still have the voice from that refrain in the background every now and then. So I think that's a really, again, good piece of background. Like it's just so fantastic. And you get the second chorus first and then followed by that first one. So then you have an outro. So this song is like, again, so complex and so great. And so the first two lines, they kind of like string you along a little bit because you don't necessarily know what he's going to say. So you get, this might sound repeated 3 times. So it might sound like what? I don't know. You don't know yet. And then the next line after that is, hear me out 3 times. So again, he's trying to tell you like, this might sound like, just hear me out. Just hear me out. This might sound. So I really, really like that. And then you get, this might sound kind of, and it's really hard to understand the last word. So this might sound kind of, and then you kind of get a feel for it. But it's repeated over and over again. And so on the 4th repetition, it's very clear that it's crazy. And again, I kind of like that build that it strings you along. And yeah, so then it repeats again with very clear crazy. And then you get hear me out repeated. So that's awesome that it's a little bit different. And then you get more, this might sound kind of crazy. And then you get hear me out. And all this time, it's all fading away as you get all of these repetitions. And then like right as it's fading, you get this one last like sigh. And so it's an amazing way to end the album. I think the song was a really great choice for the end. Overall, I think this album just has so many unique pieces. And again, you can listen to it 100 times and hear something new just with background and everything. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend KennyHoopla. Especially if you're looking for something different and unique with clever lyrics and just, I mean, amazing nuances and little tiny touches that I think just make these songs so wonderful. So yeah, like, subscribe, let me know. I hope you stuck with me this long. I know this is a long one, but this album's out amazing. It should be talked about. So yeah, see you guys next time.